But they were saying like they'll probably be it's recorded too, so act like there's 10,000 people here. I don't think that makes me more nervous.
Really?
Okay, perfect.
You should be clicking.
Yeah. Two different GFPs, nice.
Wait, what's the other one?
I'll sell it.
You are? It's a lot of.
Yeah, no, that's how I sell. Hello. Wow. All right, how's everyone doing today? My name's Jonathan. I'm our head of ecosystem at Rarible. I'm excited to chat today about custom marketplaces, the Scope marketplace with Eclipse.
Hey everyone, my name is Veronica. I'm our head of consumer at Eclipse, also primarily working on Scope with the Rarible team.
Cool, so I'll give a little background on our custom marketplaces. So Rarible, a lot of you guys know us as an OG marketplace. We've really transformed on our offerings over the last couple of years. One of them being our white label custom marketplaces. So we have Rarible.com proper, which we've had since 2019. With our white label marketplaces, we really want to give the ecosystems that we're working with an opportunity to own their entire platform and kind of collab with them on what they can build. So we own all of the tech behind the scenes. Depending on our partners, we allow them to and build out what their brand could be. We collab with them on the brand as well. And I think a really, really great use case here is what we've built with Eclipse and Scope. It's been such a fun year, such an exciting journey, and it's a lot of their team and our team really collabing really closely together. So wanted to talk a little bit about why custom marketplaces. I gave you my why, but would love to hear from Veronica on why Eclipse and why custom marketplace for you guys.
Yeah, I think for us, right, we've been around for about the better part of 3 years now. We launched, Eclipse mainnet last year in December, right? And we've actually been tinkering with the Rarible team through our testnet and also devnet. But we definitely wanted a more bespoke experience on the marketplace front, right? I think there's a lot of marketplaces around. A lot of them have also started doing cross-chain. The features are very generic. We definitely wanted something that appealed to our consumer base and community. So that is why we went the bespoke custom route. We've branded the marketplace to look, very unique, very Eclipse-like. And yeah, we've added features as, the community has requested it, which are all things that are not possible, I think, when you're working with a non-bespoke marketplace.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. With the way that we collab with our partners in Scope specifically, any features that they're looking to bring to market, things that we think would be a great fit for them as well, we collab and try to make sure that we make those things a reality. So being very focused on what the chain needs, the tech that we need to bring this to life, what the creators, artists, collectors need. So there's new iterations weekly, I even would say, because obviously the space changes so fast, and we want to make sure that we're giving the best opportunity to those that are participating. Eclipse is a rather new chain. I think we should dive into what Eclipse really is, why Eclipse. It was exciting for me to learn about it for the first time. So yeah, if you want to share a little bit more about Eclipse in general.
Yeah, so Eclipse is a Solana virtual machine layer 2 on ETH. Very new as a concept, but the easiest way to describe it is Solana on ETH. For anybody who's interacted with Solana, right, I hope enjoy the fast transactions and cheap fees, but you're also cognizant that, with crypto, right, ETH came first. A lot of the current users are also still on ETH with also their respective liquidity. So for us, we wanted to combine the best of both worlds, right? So we brought Solana to Ethereum. And with Eclipse itself, right, I think we've been around now, we've been live on mainnet since December. And since then, right, we've hit in production around 10K TPS, which is more than any of the L2 combines. And this is a number that's been live, right, not, in a testnet environment. We've hit about, 21 billion transactions thanks to TurboTap. And with Eclipse, right, I think it's very exciting because, it's frontier tech, but there also comes a lot of growing pains, right? I think we were the first SVM chain, so there isn't a lot of, infrastructure already built out, right? I think there's been countless EVM chains already in the market. It's very easy for, infrastructure to be ported over. So for us, right, when we were also thinking around the marketplace component, it was a new conversation for a lot of people, right? So going back to, the custom marketplace question, right? For us, right, it made the most sense just to go native with Rarible, given the new product that you guys were building out, and it's been smooth sailing since then.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always interesting when we chat about Eclipse and how it's, the marriage between ETH and Sol, which is such an exciting ecosystem. So that excitement, I feel like, it gets ported over to what you guys are building. More on Scope, I'm curious why Scope in general. I would love to hear just like, it came from nothing, right? Can you tell us about like that journey, the ideation, like why NFTs on Eclipse, right? A lot of chains come to be and focus on other things like DeFi, but NFTs obviously is very close in all that we do at Rarible, so it's always exciting to see when a chain wants to jump into NFTs wholeheartedly. So we'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, so I think for me, right, NFTs was important because I always believe that, DeFi in itself is really interesting, but there needs to be another component to it, especially for us, right? We're also really interested in, bringing on board new users that aren't necessarily crypto native. And I think a concept such as DeFi is a little hard to understand, right? Whereas NFTs is something you can relate to, right? You can tie your identity to. And there's also the whole digital art side of things, right? I think I'm personally a little biased, right? Because I'm very interested in this space, right? I really love what digital art is really bringing to the world, right? So for me, right, I was the one that personally pushed a lot for NFTs. But to me, right, I think with the way also the Eclipse community is built out, I would say it's very unique in the sense that the community is very strong, and there's actually a couple art lovers, right? I think we saw high interest in terms of, PFP collections first, right, with the after school club mint, right? I think the community in itself really enjoys this aspect, and so I definitely wanted to build a little more upon it. But one of the other things that I was also focused on as I was thinking through NFTs was that, there is already a lot of interest around NFTs or PFPs, but there is a big hurdle for current artists, right, to really spread their wings in the blockchain space. So when we were building out Scope together, I did want to make it artist-focused initially. So that is something that's, very dear to my heart. And now we have Scope Pro. We have, all of these great features that are made for different types of users and also different types of, I would say, content creators / artists.
Yeah, I love the idea of creating the space to let them experience and kind of grow. I think it's important when anyone's building something new in crypto or NFT space in general, do it with some sort of intention and less extraction. And if you start to build for people that are there or people that you want to be there with you, I think it goes such a long way. Would love to dive a bit more into the real specifics on how Scope came to be, right? So we're talking like what was required from you guys technically, the design side. Can you share with us like some of your goals when we started the conversation about Scope, and then we can dive into some of the more technical details and requirements?
Yeah, so I definitely wanted a marketplace with both primaries and secondaries. Initially on the PFP side, right, because that's what was interesting for us. I think we were looking to line up our mainnet launch with also the launch of our Genesis PFP collection, the After School Club, right? So for us, right, we definitely needed primaries on the PFP side, and then later on secondaries as close as possible to that launch date. that is what we launched with, right? And then from there, we wanted to grow the platform into, different features. I think this is what you're bringing up now, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And to touch on the initial launch, obviously, like it's hard to jump into a new space without the community, without something that people are looking forward to. And I think what Eclipse did with Scope and with ASC is a great example of like how to do it right, and building that community first, being able to have the artists, future collectors involved for such a long time, and to be like deeply ingrained in what the process looked like. And I think that's really important versus just throwing something out there and hoping it sticks. So it was very intentional, and I think it was great move for you guys to do that. From our side, I would love to hear a little bit about the features. Like, how did you prioritize these features, and what did that build process look like with Rarible X? How did Rarible X help bring those visions to life? Move for you guys.
Yeah, I think when we had initially started, right, as I said, we wanted two main features, and a lot of the other additional features revolved around those, and making sure that the user experience is very smooth and seamless, right? But also users could do everything that they wanted. And what I mean by this, right, is does the website break, right? That is priority one, right? We have these two features. Will anything that we add help the website work well, right? And then, the second kind of tier of priority would be, does this make the user's life better? And so we kind of went through those, we ideated through those, right? I think for some people, right, some minting features weren't working, so we kind of worked around that. And then we worked on adding, collections, bid, different types of, buying mechanisms on secondaries, right? Like sweeping, we recently added, bids, we recently added as well. So all of those things were, additional features that we got added. And the way we thought about it as well, right, is there was, our personal Eclipse thinking, but also the community, right? I think one thing that was integral to the entire process was also community feedback. As you said, right, the community has been so ingrained in the process. So for them, right, they're very actually open to sharing feedback, which I think has been really great for both of us. They've also requested, a bunch of features that we've passed along, and we've gotten those implemented very fast. So I think that's the way we've gone about it with features.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think there's one thing of like trying to build everything first and then putting it out there, and I think there's something special about building with the community over time and getting a real product out there and allowing people to play with it, toy with it, and bring features to life as time goes on. And it's different, but I mean, that's an approach I enjoy, because why build something completely and not understand what your users want versus building something beta, right, and then building with your users over time. I think that's something great that we really collabed on. What would you say surprised you the most? Could be positive, could be negative, about working with Rarible.
Let me think. I feel like the relationship has been really good for us, right? I think when we were initially approached, right, what's actually funny with this was that this all actually happened through a LinkedIn cold DM. So
that's old school for this space, huh?
Yeah. So I was curious, so I responded to it, and I never knew that we were going to build such an amazing product from just this cold DM. I think the product has grown tremendously to the point where it's even gone beyond my expectations, right? We came in wanting, a marketplace, a small marketplace with primaries and secondaries, and we've now come to a point where we have multiple marketplaces, right? We have Scope, that's more artist focused, with one-of-ones, limited editions, open editions, right? We have now Scope Pro with a better trading interface for, more PFP type traders, right? So I think this very positive, right? But we've come to a point where everything's kind of exceeded what I've hoped for.
Nice.
Yeah.
That wasn't planned answer, by the way. That was all real. And I guess to jump a little bit more on that, like how does Rarible help support that like techno and creative vision? I mean, from my perspective, I'd like to think of us as being like fast-paced, helping be visionaries together, and I think that's a great thing about the space is like when you have the right partners that have the right mentality alongside you guys, like it allows you guys to build the right thing together versus having very separate mindsets. So from the creative and technical perspective, would love to hear like how Rarible has helped bring that to life.
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of partners for so long that I think we also understand each other's work style and also vision, right? I think you and I meet on the weekly, right, to talk about new features we'd like added. It's great to be in kind of a startup mindset, right? Because I think the product is never good enough in our eyes, right? We're perfectionists at heart, right? So for us, every week after a new feature gets pushed out, we're ideating on the next feature, which is amazing, right? It's not something you would find in the corporate world. So we're working alongside, pushing these features, trying to make Scope the best it can be.
Awesome. You mentioned Scope Pro. So for those that don't know, there's OG Scope, the Launchpad, but through these ideation phases, like the next iteration of what Scope is has come to life rather recently. So can you tell us a little bit about what's different with Scope Pro? Why did you expand? We can start there.
Yeah, so with Scope Pro, right, I would describe it as a more trader-oriented, faster-paced type of launchpad versus Scope, right? I think Scope started out to be more artist-focused, right, with the one-of-ones, the limited edition, the open editions. But for everybody who was coming in looking to trade, the after-school club collection or any of our other major NFT collections, right, the interface was not really great for them, right? So with that, right, I think it definitely lowered the amount of volume that could have happened on Scope. So we definitely wanted to push a different product that was more akin to, the bigger marketplaces that are out there, Magic Eden, Tensor, right, OpenSea. And we did not have the right set of features to attract those types of users. And so that's why Scope Pro came about. It's a cleaner interface for traders, right? There's more charts, more analytics. More, general features like bids, sweeping, right? All of those things, being able to buy multiple NFTs in one go, right? You have floor buys. That's Scope Pro in a nutshell, I would say. And very excited about it. I think we've seen, volumes also pick up.
Yeah, I think, with Scope Pro, there's obviously the Scope Launchpad that we just discussed, Scope Pro, the trader's interface. Going back to the Launchpad, would love to chat a little bit about the creator side, the curatorial side. Like, we now have permissionless drops. We talked about the dev and design work of the platform, but I want to dive into more the creator, collector side, and the marketing side, right? Like, the go-to-market that we kind of collabed on to really push what Scope is, to help out these creators. From your perspective, we'd love to hear more about how do you onboard these creators and what kind of support are we giving them together?
Yeah, so on kind of the creator side, right, I think what Scope has done really well, right, was actually the open edition spotlight. I do want to bring this up, right, because I think that was a really huge factor in the growth of Scope on, I would say, more of the artist-focused side. But when we actually went live to mainnet, right, we were highlighting open editions on a weekly basis. At the end of, the process of TurboTap, we had highlighted over, I believe, 70 artists. And for them, right, a lot of the way we were thinking about it was that we wanted a standardized format every week so that it was not only accessible for our users, but also memorable, right? So every week, between 5 to 7 artists would drop an open edition, and they would all be priced at, $2 mint fee, $2 platform fee for Scope. And it was just running. I think some artists got along the lines of 20,000 mints, which is pretty incredible, which kind of also helped us grow, our brand. I think with a pricing so accessible, you're also able to get so many more collectors, right? So that is the ethos of Scope in itself, right? We want it to be, very open to any types of creators with any types of background. And that's, what we've seen, right? With Eclipse being at the intersection of both, Solana and ETH, right? In the modular ecosystem, we've seen artists from other chains, from Solana, from ETH, Tezos. We even had someone from Bitcoin come over, just, play around with the chain and, drop art. So it's been really amazing to be able to curate, but also open the doors really to all these people. And in terms of support, right, we've been, I think, doing really good in terms of, highlighting their work, especially on the open edition front. I think being able to get your work displayed, or even in a tweet, right, with some, more recognizable artists has done a lot for some of these smaller up-and-coming artists. So that's the way we've kind of played around with it. I'll also touch upon, our creator fund really shortly, if there's a question on that.
No, that's perfect segue. Okay. I was going there next.
Okay, cool. But we've also, worked really closely with Rarible on a creator fund where, a majority of our fees have been going towards the Eclipse Creator Fund that we've now, named the Neighborhood, and it's being led by Duke, our esteemed after-school club artist and multi-chain artist, and I. And we are looking to, support existing Eclipse artists and onboard traditional artists. And we really are looking to kind of push this program out with, a residency program. We also do a lot of open calls, but the ethos of the neighborhood in itself is that it's meant to feel like a neighborhood where people come and meet up, right? And you have different backgrounds and everyone is different, but everybody can hang out together. And I think Scope, right, also emulates that, right? We have, newcomer artists, more well-known artists who are coming to drop art. And yeah, we hope to kind of keep this going.
Yeah, I think it was a great way to kick things off. Like collectors, creators, the platform fees were going directly back right into the ecosystem. And I think it just goes back to the discussion of a really strong community ecosystem focused inaugural initiatives where it allows everyone to feel like they're giving back, or they feel like they're helping build this with Eclipse, with Rarible as well. And when these collections come to life, for example, this is the launch pad. These are us highlighting the various NFTs that are dropping, whether it's a one-of-one, open edition, limited edition. But these artists are getting an opportunity to really shine, I would say, in a new ecosystem. It's not easy to jump into on a new chain. So obviously, being Solana, Ethereum, mixed, right, in a way, allows some of those users, collectors, artists to come on board. But they're seeing maybe a different type of support that they might not have seen on these other chains. And we're really proud of that. We build out all of the contracts in-house. Shout out to Vadim, who is crushing it on our engineering team. And these artists submit their work and submit their descriptions, submit things to us, and we take care of the contracts. We're able to build out and the mint page, highlight them properly, and then work very closely with Eclipse on the strategy on the releases. So it is a very tandem effort. I think that's where it's a strong suit for Rarible, being in the NFT scene for so long. When a new chain comes along with a very strong community, it's a great match. So excited to keep that going. We can jump into Scope Pro as well. If there's anything specific that you're excited about for Scope Pro, would love to hear that, and then we can jump into some Q&As, and we'll call it a wrap here.
On Scope Pro, I'm very happy with the product right now, so I don't have much to say. I think it is good enough in the current state to be able to compete on UX with some of the other marketplaces out there. I do hope to see more PFP collections, right? Because I think I've been I've been spearheading the artist side a lot more. And with that, right, I think we're getting a lot more, open editions and one-of-ones right now. But I do hope to see more PFP artists, test the waters of Eclipse, given, how strong the community has been.
And you said you wanted to jump into the neighborhood. I'm excited about the Creator Fund and the opportunities that it can really bring to new users that are trying to explore like a new chain like Eclipse. But yeah, would love to hear your perspective and where it's going.
Yeah, definitely. And being at an NFT conference, right, I think it's only wise to speak a little bit more about the neighborhood. We're really grateful to have it up and running right now. We'll be sharing a lot more information, right? But we officially launched it, I believe, in April, where we've already since then done 3 open calls for artists to be able to display their work anywhere in the world, which I think is incredibly important, something that you can only really do with, digital art, right? And we are currently in the process of launching our first residency, which will be going live in July with, our partners at Linda. And it will be a 7-week course, online only, for 16 artists to join, with mentorship, where every week they'll be covering anything from, art history 101, starting from the Renaissance to the modern day, but also different types of, stylistic, artistic workshops, around different types of tools, but also just, panels with established artists coming in. So we're really excited about these. I think the main purpose of the neighborhood is also just to provide tools for artists, whether, already existing in the space or new to the space, but also provide more opportunities for, visibility, but also just to, come hang out with a good community. I think you'll see that the Eclipse community also really enjoys collecting art. So yeah, definitely a good place to start, and we hope to onboard more people.
Yeah, definitely check it out. A lot of the NFTs will be minted on Scope, gives artists the IRL opportunities around, and allows them to have conversations with us. We love to have the conversations with creators that are looking to drop as well, provide feedback, additional strategy. And I think that's where a lot of our expertise can come into play. Yeah, I guess from the custom marketplace side, there's so many people out there, businesses, Web3, Web2, whatever, that are looking to come on-chain, build their own marketplace. But question for you, what advice would you give someone that's looking to launch their own marketplace? Obviously, I think about Rarible X. I think of people trying to do it themselves, but we'll leave you with that.
I think for me, the best advice I can give is just, try it out, right? I think you may believe that you have too many requests and your idea is impossible to build out, but it is possible, right? I think I came in with a very long wish list of requests, and we're getting there. So I wouldn't be scared. The space is so new, right? I think everyone's a builder. Everyone's still tinkering at the moment. So everyone should be willing to give it a go, right? I think it's better to have multiple minds thinking on a problem. You might even think of new solutions. So yes, don't be scared. Just try it out.
Yeah, and to add, I always tell anyone that's looking to build their own marketplace that is focused on something else, come to Rarible, use Rarible X, give it a try. Focus on what you're great at, and let us, not to sound cocky, but let us, the experts who have been doing it for 5-6 years, help build that out for you. And I think that's a big way to allow just the ideation to flow kind of together. From that, I'd like to open it up to any questions anyone might have about launching your own marketplace, about Eclipse, about what Rarible's up to nowadays. If anyone wants to have the floor, we're ready for you guys. If not, it's okay also. Yes. I'm sorry, practical. Yeah.
I can answer this. I mean, personally, I would love that. I think it's also a question that I will reroute to you, right? I think we've had a couple requests from, domain providers on Eclipse who would like to have secondaries trading on their domains, right? I think we've been working really closely with all domains who have minted, I think, over 500K domains on Eclipse. 500K .turbos. A lot of people have hoarded a couple rare ones that I imagine would want to list. So this is also something on my list that we're working on right now.
It's a great question. I do have my own internal wish list as well as leading and working with a lot of creators. There are plenty of asks that I bring to the table, and I think we work and collab on our asks to our product and engineering teams. But it takes time, and I think it takes interest, right? I think we want to build for things that will get use, right? And I think it seems like this will, but there are. With so many things going on, there's definitely priorities that need to be put in place before everything comes and is shipped. So yeah, it's a great question, and I think it should be on the roadmap. Any other questions? Where are we here? Okay, cool. Well, if anyone wants to explore a little bit, feel free to scan the QR code. You can learn more about what it takes to launch your own custom marketplace. We have our booth as well, the Rarible booth. We have mint passes, a really fun art installation where you can have your own outputs and explore what the IRL activation side can look like for the art world. Want to thank Veronica, of course, thank Eclipse for honestly giving Rarible a chance to help build this out. It's definitely one of our most important strategic projects at Rarible, and it's early stages, right, in the grand scheme of things, so super excited to see where that can go. But whether you're an artist, whether you're a collector, whether you're a builder, there are plenty of ways to explore how to work with Rarible and Scope and dropping art, building out your marketplaces, and everything along those lines. Thank you for everyone's time, and we'll see you around the conference.
Phải